everybody, Allison Gardner here, and I want to share with you tonight something that has really been a boon and a blessing and a help to me, to my health and to my marriage, and that is the realization that I don't have to be the strong one. That's the realization that I don't have to hold it all inside and I don't have to keep it to myself. For most of my marriage, for most of my engagement, I tended to keep everything inside of me. I kept the good and the bad inside of me because there were times when I would share it and I didn't get interaction. I didn't feel supported. I didn't get an engagement with what was happening for me. And so I felt like there really wasn't a lot of point sharing it. And in no way am I placing blame with that. When it feels like the entire world is sitting on your chest trying to crush you, getting out of your own head and supporting others is not always possible. And so having conversations and realizing that that was kind of what was at stake, I just started keeping everything inside of me. And I just kept all of the hurt, all of the happy, all of the things just bottled up inside of me. And guess what, folks? When you do that long enough, you break. Because your body was not meant to hold all of that stuff in. It was not meant to keep it in. That's why we have mouths. That's why we have eyes. That's why we have nose. A nose is so that we can laugh, we can cry, we can sneeze, we can process emotion and process stuff out of us. That's why we have ears, is so that we can hear the things from other people. And so our physical makeup was meant to get emotion and process emotion and feel things and share things. And so I got to a point where I couldn't feel anymore because it hurt too much to hold it in and to not be able to do anything with it. And enter a stage where my husband asked me to laugh again. And when you stop tears, you also stop laughter. And so I just shut down. And the last year of my life has been a journey of realizing that I do need to share and I do need to be open. And the person that I need to share and be open with is the person who's in it with me for the long haul. And is the person that I have seen vulnerable, more vulnerable than any other human being. And that's something when I was in counseling that we talked about a lot, actually, was I needed to be vulnerable with my spouse. And here's the thing about me. Hello, I do this. Like, I sit in front of the camera and I share with people the stuff that is nearest and dearest to my heart. And that to me was not being vulnerable. Okay, a little bit. Sometimes the things I say, I go, oh wow, that was raw. But a lot of times it's just, I hope that it can be helpful, and so I share it. But what was incredibly vulnerable for me was going to my spouse and sharing something that happened at work. Or going to my spouse and sharing that I was frustrated about something or disappointed about something or even excited about something. Because the thing about my spouse is that he has lots of lows. He doesn't really have any highs, but there's lots of below normal level. So if this is like me, I'm going along and I have some ups and downs, but generally I'm up here, riding up here. And for him, he kind of goes low, level off, low, level off, low, level off. And so it was hard for me to even share the good things because I very rarely got an, oh, that's so awesome, or oh, that's so cool, or I'm so excited for you. I got, okay, that's nice. And so it was very deflating for me to realize that something that mattered so much to me, really, it mattered to him, but the communication that it mattered to him wasn't there. And so what I started doing was expressing myself on paper, and getting it all on paper. And the other thing that has done wonders for me is to write letters to Heavenly Father. Because there was a stage where I felt if my spouse didn't care and I had no idea how to tell my family, and I was praying for things to be different, and things weren't different, then why should I talk to God about it? Why should I burden him with something he wasn't going to change? And I know that sounds awful, but that literally was in my mindset. Oh, I was still praying, and I was giving great lip service, guys. Nothing real was coming out of my mouth. And so I found that as I started writing letters to Heavenly Father and just getting out the good, the bad, the ugly, the soul electrifying and the soul dampening, and just getting it all out, that I unlocked this spot in my heart that I had forgotten how to feel. So if you are terrified of sharing that with someone, if you are terrified of opening your mouth and letting that emotion out and letting it be, I want to share with you the benefit of what happens. So last night I was feeling a lot of frustration and stuckness, and so I sat down and I wrote my letter to Heavenly Father, and just laying it out on paper and seeing what was there totally changed things for me. And then today, Christmas is funny at our house. So I'm actually starting to really enjoy it. There's a long story about Christmases past that I'm not going to touch today. But while we've been married, presents were never the biggest thing on his mind. They really weren't his focus. And so it was hard because I would put out all this effort and all this love into these awesome gifts, and then I would get like socks. Now, when we were dating, it was fun, like pajama sets and just a bunch of like very fun things. And then we got married and it stopped. And that was hard for me. But as I softened, he felt more free and safe. And so the mask came off of him. And so now we have fun together, even though I'm very rarely surprised. So 2nd year in a row, last year, he bought me a softball mitt. Absolutely loved it. But he showed me the day he bought it because he was afraid it wouldn't fit. So I knew what it was, but it was so exciting to know that he put that much love into it, so I ran with it. And tonight, found out 2nd year in a row what I'm getting, because he was so excited about it. But what made it for me was that he got me something fun. It wasn't practical, it wasn't needed, I didn't ask. He just thought, I saw how much you cared about this and it's gone. And so I got it for you. And he held me close and I cried in his arms because I saw in that moment how much he cared. And that is what you get when you finally stop being strong. When you stop trying to bottle it all in and close yourself off and hide. Because I didn't want to make his burden heavier. I didn't want it harder for him, and so I hid everything. But I forgot a key point in marriage is that as I share, he no longer feels like he's the one with the problem in the marriage, because he's hearing what's going on with me too. And as he shares and I share, and we both bear each other's burdens and we're equally yoked, then instead of me carrying a bajillion pounds and him carrying a bajillion pounds, we're instead carrying like 150 pounds and both of us can lift 300. I'm not saying this seriously at all, but that's how it works. And so by us carrying together, the load is lighter. And I know that there are some moments when that still isn't a possibility. But when they do come, don't let old habits stop you. Because that was me too many times of closing my mouth because I was afraid, kept me closed my mouth all the time. So look for moments to be vulnerable and look for moments to be open, because as you build that trust and are truly vulnerable with what's inside of you, awesome things can happen, because a marriage is built on vulnerability and a marriage is bolstered by trust. And the only way that you really build trust is by talking and sharing and showing all of you to that other person. Thank you for joining me on this journey, learning about the one lesson that I've learned, and that's that I don't have to be strong. I can be vulnerable and I can share. And when we share and when we're open, it pays dividends in our marriages. So, and in my case, just my marriage. So I invite you, maybe this is terrifying, it was for me, but just choose something you can share and something to be open about, and you will be amazed at what comes. Thanks for joining me, guys. Bye.